Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Racing Gambit presented by USA Wedger on the Sports 2.0 network. We've got a very exciting weekend of racing coming up this weekend and I am not going to be picking through the bones of it alone. Ace, how are you doing today?
Great. Looking to find some winners this weekend. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a hard weekend to find winners in some very competitive races. But to begin with, we'll go back to last Saturday where we had the Louisiana Derby. And I find it hard to think of anything otherwise, but I feel like Epicenter really took a massive stride forward towards really putting his marker down towards being the favourite for the Derby in just over a month's time.
I completely agree with you. Epicenter did something that we didn't know they could do. They raided. They sat behind two horses. They came with one big run on the turn, and they made everyone look silly. The question coming out of the race really is, was there much that he beat at the end of the day? We're not sure. But all this horse does is beat whoever's put in front of him recently. And you've got those connections of Rosario and Asmussen. I hate to say it, but I think they're going to be the favorite for the Kentucky Derby, unless Messier absolutely wrecks the Santa Anita Derby. And if Secret Oath somehow wins the Arkansas Derby, don't be surprised if the whole public backs the filly against the boys in the Derby.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Equi base speed figure now. Like it was a 97. I mean, we've seen Forbidden Kingdom do better than that. We've seen Messier hit higher than that. Mm-hmm. So I guess from that rating, they think it was good, but like definitely not the best we've seen.
As much as I agree, the fact that this horse went a mile and 3/16, no one else has gone that distance just yet, and won with ease, going easy at the end. I mean, Zozos took a very nice second, right, in their third career start ever. I think they can improve coming off of it. But you look at Zozos' odds to win the Derby, 12-1. No, thank you. You're going to get a bigger price than that on Derby Day. But it's really going to be interesting how this weekend shapes out everything, and next weekend shapes out everything for the full Derby picture to come together.
Yeah, we also had some Oaks action as well last weekend, didn't we, with the Louisiana, or the Fairground Oaks rather, where Echo Zulu just turned up, which I said, I never doubted the last weekend. I just thought she was far better than anything else in that race. And if she even kind of brought a B game, she was going to kind of wipe the floor with them.
And she brought her B game all right, because she barely hung on to win. And some people were saying, no, there was never a doubt. I'm sorry, you beat somebody by a head. I would say one bad bob doesn't put you in front. This was the first time this horse is back. I don't think they're going to run them in another prep. I just think they're going right directly to the Oaks. I hope this horse is ready second off the layoff. Realistically, I think me and you are very much hoping that Secret Oath, the filly, goes to the Derby because we have a big future on it. And then Echo Zulu can have the Oaks. That's fine with me. It's fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, as long as Secret Oath goes to the Derby, I will care about the Oaks, but maybe a little bit less. Whoever can win that, I'm not even bothered then. I guess we have to look back at the Dubai World Cup as well. What happened to Life is Good last weekend? Because that was a shocker.
The distance. It was simply the distance. And for all the court cases that are going on here and all the lawyers saying that Bob Baffert's career would be over if he suspended 90 days, I'm pretty sure he just won a $12 million race in Dubai, so I'm not sure what happened there. What did you take away from that race?
I mean, Frankie Dettori's a genius, isn't he? That was the overwhelming. He got a double on the card as well, didn't he? And he was already talking afterwards, saying that he was disappointed not to get the treble because I can't remember who the ride was now he had earlier on, but he felt like he really, really should have won a race earlier in the day. I can't remember who it was now though. And then obviously Yabir as well. I have no doubt he was the best horse in that race. I just think he was way. He was too far behind to kind of catch the Japanese horse who won, who was highly regarded going into it, but I still thought Yubir was far better than anything else. But we've seen from his past runs, even the Breeders' Cup and then in the Jockey Club before that, he leaves his moves till like the last second, doesn't he? And it is kind of like it is going to kind of catch you out every now and again. And then obviously in Dubai, it did catch him out.
It's a roller coaster. I don't think the stretches in Dubai were as long as one might think here in the U.S. And to your point, right? Like you take a deep closer and they get up for a second, and you're just all like, God, if that race was just one more furlong longer, right? Coming all the way from the outside. I think if Yubir, to your point, if they were a little closer, if they saw that competition, they would have run them down. It's just the fact that they were so far out there that it was just like they were running their own race.
Yeah, I mean, we can look forward to speaking about Yubir more this year anyway, because I think he's being campaigned in the States all season.
Nice.
Up until the turf as well. But obviously before that, we have to get cracking on some prep races this weekend, starting with the Arkansas Derby from Oakland Park. It's a grade one with 100 qualifying points on the line, over 1 1/8 miles. And as you mentioned before, we are both very, very keen on a certain 3-year-old filly in this race who looks like she's going to go off as a very, very short favourite. But I still can't find a reason to take her on in this because I feel like the rest of this field all have points to prove.
This race is very interesting, and everything I'm reading, people have some really strong opinions here. Some are saying just absolutely toss the filly. She can't compete, right? Others are saying, well, Barber Road, you know what I mean? Chasing Time, maybe. And I'm sitting there going, they're not going to show up for the first time in a grade one. They're just not. They're not that good of horses. And I own a piece of Chasing Time, and it hurts for me to say it, but it is what it is. Doppelganger is a fine horse, but our boy Forbidden Kingdom has buried him last race. Unoho upset City last time in the prep for the Arkansas race. No, thank you. The only one that is possible is this up and comer We the People, right? Mm-hmm. But to your point, like Secret Oath had a bad run last time out in their prep, and she still figured out how to just blow them away. So I'm going with the filly all day long, twice on Sunday. Let's do this.
Yeah, I just think if she, again, a bit like Echo Zuna, when we was just saying like she bringing her B game rather. I still think if Secret Oath's not completely on it, I still think she's head and shoulders above this lot because these aren't the. I mean, it's questionable whether any of them will go to the Derby, but even if they do, they're not going to be anything less than 20 to 1.
Yeah.
Like she is way better than this. Like, and I guess the exciting thing is if she wins this, Dwayne Lucas has kind of almost no chance or no other choice except for to send her to the Derby. Especially because I saw it pop up on Twitter the other day that the connections are already saying we got to go to the Derby. Surely, like that's where we have to go.
If she takes first and she takes it convincingly, she's got 5 weeks to get a little more distance. And I'm with you. I don't see, and maybe we're all wrong, right? Maybe Cyberknife just upsets this field and looks amazing doing it, right? And then you are saying, oh, are they going to be the second, third, fourth choice for the Derby? But we got all our eggs in a basket on Secret Oath, and we're standing by it. Would it absolutely shock me that Doppelganger, who is leaving the Baffert barn, suddenly comes up and surprises? No, but in Arkansas, I think the hard thing is Santa Anita. If you don't have really speed, you're toast in a lot of those races. So, but at Oakland, it seems like you can close in on a price. Maybe Doppelganger is more suited for this course, but I'm sticking with the filly. I hope she's the next queen who's going to beat the Kings in the Derby.
Yeah, I mean it's been far too long, hasn't it, since we've had a filly winner, and I think next week we'll end up talking about the Grand National a little bit, and I've got a strong fancy of that who's also a female horse, so it could just be the year for the girls. Who knows?
Let's do it.
I think we're both agreed on that. Secret Oath all the way for the win.
Yeah.
Next up, then we've got the Florida Derby, which is a grade 1 at Gulfstream, over 1 1/8 miles. Again, worth 100 qualifying points. This has been a really, really solid prep run on the way to the Derby, as it's produced 20 Triple Crown winners. 15 of them have been Kentucky Derby winners, which includes Always Dreaming in 2017. I think this is a really, really good race. Like, you've got probably the top 6 in the betting here, who you could probably make a case for all 6 of them to kind of win this. And again, they've all kind of got points to prove, because they need to kind of definitely come top 3 in this to kind of definitely assure their finish in the Derby. But I think one of them needs to kind of put down a real marker here and just wipe the floor with the rest of them.
Yeah, and this is where, like, in all honesty, it seems to be a 4-horse race, right? Like, it just seems like, oh, the 4 horses are the best horses, and they're probably going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to play your tries. You're going to play your supers. I think Simplification is a nice horse. I don't think they're going to be favorite. I don't think Charge It's going to be the favorite. White Barrio loves this track, and Classic Causeway has Irad and has won his last 2. I'm looking at those 2 horses and saying they're a step above at this moment of the other horses in this field. Am I worried that Classic Causeway is coming out of Tampa Bay? Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, this horse just seems to know how to get his nose down and win. And Irad Ortiz owns Southern Florida. So I think Classic Causeway is going to go off as the favorite. So it's not a big stretch, but that's where I landed. How about you?
No, I'm also with you, a Classic Causeway. I don't know if people just read too much into his run last time out in the Tampa Bay Derby, where they were kind of a bit disappointed with him or how he performed that day. And I was amazed when I saw the odds and he weren't favourite, because like you can't put a 2-time. He's won back-to-back graded races, which is better than most in this race.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you had Simplification, who won the Fountain of Youth last time out, but his speed figure was 93. Classic Causeways from the Tampa Bay was 104. So even when he's underperforming, he's still performing better than Simplification.
Yeah.
I think the White Barrio one is probably the interesting angle here. Obviously, because he beat Simplification in the Holy Bull with a very, very good performance. And I'd be keen to kind of keep him on side, especially with his form around this track. And I think he's got a really, really good chance, because the race at Gulfstream. If this was anywhere else, I probably would be kind of fading him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said about Charge, he did get a speed figure 103 from his last race, but that's an amazing special. Right? This is a completely kind of different kettle of fish. This is a huge step up for him, and if he goes off second favourite, I'd be nowhere near him on the day.
And that's the interesting thing, right? Like, listen, Charge It's an expensive horse. He's a monster out of Tappet, right? Yeah, second race, he broke his maiden, and then he's just shipped right into here. You got Saez, you got Todd Pletcher. Seems like Todd Pletcher might have 3 or 4 horses going in the Derby. This one really does make me feel like I'm going to completely fade this horse, only because of this huge step up in class. But like you said, right? I think Charge It's going to be a horse that we're talking about later on in the year. I just don't see it. It's too soon. And watch this horse. Yeah, like second favorite. Like, what are we talking about? Like, oh, these other horses have won graded races. This guy's just broke his maiden. What are we talking about?
And I just saw, because I see out of the corner of my eye, he's actually only 14 to 1 to win the Kentucky Derby as well, which is madness when like we haven't even seen him in Stack's company.
Yeah, it's really something. But what are you gonna do? I think we're both laying on Classic Causeway, and I think he can win off the pace too. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out.
Yeah, I think Classic Causeway is just the best horse in this field. I think the only slight concern is that he hasn't ran at Gulfstream before, whereas you've got White Barrio, who is kind of a master around this track. Obviously, the two did meet, didn't they, last year as well? So, and that was what his only defeat when he was third in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. Was that the only defeat he's kind of got? So yeah. So I would be tempted. It could be one of them on the day. Whoever's the bigger price, I'm just going to take, because I feel like you could flip a coin between them.
Yeah, if White Barrio somehow like 6-1, you'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Like, thank you. Moving on to the next race, right? But we'll see how this whole thing shakes out.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting race.
For sure.
Yeah, but I'm classic Causeway with a slight bit of a White Barrio.
It's understandable.
And next up, I mean, this is a very random one. The Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park, a grade 3, over 1 1/8 miles. It's on the all-weather track. It's worth 100 qualifying points. And we got a very, very short favourite in Tis the Bomb, who I kind of think is the best horse in this field if it was on the turf. And he was so good in the John Battaglia on the all-weather last time on this at Turfway. I find it very hard to poke too many holes in his form. But I guess the biggest question with him, as there is with a few of in this race, their best form is on the turf. So even if they win this, like, what is the end goal? Because obviously I've already talked about Tis the Bomb going down the English Classic route. So what's the point, I guess?
I'm with you, right? And listen, he's beaten most of this field already. He's going to go off at a very short price. So the question is, do you take someone who's going to be super short on price, or do you look for someone else that you never know what can happen, right? I'm going to go for a price, and I'm going to go with Tawny Port, Brad Cox horse. You got him at 6-1. I'm hoping he's a little more like 8-1 when the post time comes. And the only reason is he's Pioneer of the Nile and he's 2 for 2 at the track. And I do think Brad Cox knows where to point horses. And yeah, they went to run in the Risen Star. That track was not favoring any closers. This Turfway surface is all over the place. You can win on the front end. You can win from 20 lengths back, it seems. I'm going to go for a price, but I don't blame anyone going for Tis the Bomb. They're the most impressive horse that we've seen at 2 and continued on at 3 that isn't racing in the biggest races countrywide.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of decent prices. And I just saw Blackadder on our screen is quite short, but if you go on the money line, it's 15-1. I think that's a decent price considering he won on the all-weather last time out with a decent speed figure of 85.
Yeah,
but I think Tis the Bomb is the best in here, but obviously because it's on the all-weather, it could go in any direction. But the thing for certain is, if a horse wins this and goes to the Derby, I wouldn't be going anywhere near him because they have no form on the dirt. Obviously, Tis the Bomb was 7th in the Holy Ball a couple of months ago now. And then you've got, I think Cabaret Spirit probably sums this race up quite well. He was 5th in the San Felipe behind our boy Forbidden Kingdom. He was a decent 2nd in the Robert B. Lewis behind Messier, but his best runs had come on the turf, where he's won the Eddie Logan in January. And then he was 3rd in the Cecil B. Demile Stakes back in November as well. So, I feel like a lot of the connections for these horses in these races, or in this race, I think they're kind of open to kind of suggestions where they're going to go. But if I was going to go for a price, I think Red Run might have a decent chance. He returned to action this year, a couple of months ago in the Texas Turf Mile Stakes, and he won to a speed figure 101 at Houston. This is a decent step up, but he looks like he's come on leaps and bounds since his 10th in the Saratoga Special last year. So I'd if it was around 10-1, I'd be interested.
So I'm going to give you something interesting on Run. Trained by Steve Asmussen, who anywhere else in the country, crushing it. Steve Asmussen has no wins, and he's raced 39 times at Turfway this year. How is that possible? How do you not have a win in almost 40 tries at a track for a very, very good trainer? Look, to your point, right? Out of Gun Runner, very impressive win effort in the Texas Turf Mile. Yet again, Turf Mile, right? I don't blame you, but who knows? This race is so tough. It's so tough.
It's to your point though. Records like that are there kind of to be broken, aren't they? And they're going to be broken in a big race. They're not going to be broken in a midweek kind of maiden special weight, are they? They're going to be broken in a stakes kind of a big race. But to the point. I think Tiz the Bomb is the best thing in this race, and if he turns up anywhere near his best, I think he just wipes the floor with this lot.
And then the question is, does he go to the Derby, knowing that he's not the biggest dirt horse?
I was trying to figure this one out earlier, like, because I can't imagine there's been a horse that done it. The Kentucky Derby and then Epsom Derby double. I don't think it's been done. Whether it's the Epsom Derby is a classic he targets, I don't know. But or an English classic and a Kentucky Derby win, it's doubtful, isn't it, that anyone's done that before.
It's very doubtful, and I don't think we've really seen a ton of horses go back to turf after winning such big races besides Secretariat, but I know Secretariat didn't ship over, so
yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting if Tiz the Bomb gave it a go. It would be interesting, but I can't see it myself.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So where you landed on there in that race?
I'm gonna stick with my Connie Potts, long, bit of a price, hopefully 8-1. I don't blame what you walked through with Tiz the Bomb. I don't disagree with any of your points here, and I don't blame you for going for a price in Red Run if the price is right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be going Tiz the Bomb to win, but I'd have an outside bet on Red Run. Yep. Red Run. Like, we were a week before the Grand National, and obviously Red Run was the famous horse from the Grand National, so it's all part of the theme, in it.
Mm-hmm.
So your best bet then for the weekend, Ice, where you landing?
I'm going to take Classic Causeway over the rest of those Florida Derby fields. I still don't think. I mean, if anyone but them wins, like, I'm going to toss them for the Derby. But if Classic Causeway really runs away from this field, then I'll supplement them and say, okay, they're probably the top one in my top 5 Derby horses.
Yeah, and I'd be sticking with Secret Oath. I just looked. Derby odds now. What we got? What we got nearly 40-1, didn't we?
We got 33-1.
33-1. She is now a 20-1 shot with a lot of bookmakers, and I would guess she might be halved again if she wins and wins well in the Arkansas Derby this weekend.
She's 16-1 here, so we've already cut our odds in half. So let's go.
Yeah, well, that just about rounds us off for this weekend. Obviously, good luck with the racing. Good luck out to your race. Until next week, when we'll be back for more previews. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Like and subscribe.